Sanibonani, molweni kuzo zonke nje indawo enibukele kuzo kuMzantsi Afrika. Besinithembisile ke phaya kumakhasi onxibelelwano sinidluliselela phaa sithi sizawuba nentlanganiso namhlanje nomongameli we-Azapo apho azawuthi asiphendlele imanifesto ye-Azapo ayicakake kunjawunje ukuze nomntu ophaya ekhaya ayiqonde kakuhle into yokuba ezi elections zizayo zii-elections zabantu, not politicians. Makasive kuye umongameli anibulise emakhaya ke asichazele uba le manifesto ilontshwa ngomso isiphethele ntoni singabahlali. Sinomdla wezinye izinto ke kufuneka ndazichaza apha ethubeni, kodwa nje ndicela ndibulise abantu bam phaya emakhaya nje uchaze mongameli uba le manifesto yenu iqulethe ntoni.
Masibulele prof ngeli thuba osinika lona. Sibhotise emakhaya. Sizithoba. Sithoba nesithomo masibhotise emakhaya. Now, if we're talking about the manifesto of Azapo, the movement of Steve Biko, the movement that believes in Black consciousness, the movement that was behind the June 16 uprising in this country. Therefore, a movement that has contributed in building the foundations of this democracy, in building the foundations of this freedom, even if we're unable to recognize it as it's given to us, but at least we contributed to build the foundations. Today, we are having a situation which is not palatable at all. A situation where the Black person has vanished from the country of his birth. If you watch television, you do not see a Black person. If you watch the soapies, there is no Black person there. I mean, culturally speaking, socially speaking, spiritually speaking. If you go to the airports, there's no Blackness there. If you go to town, if you go anywhere you want to go, there's no Blackness there. If you're talking about the concept of ownership of the economy of this country, there is no Blackness there. You know, an upward of 98% of the economy of this country is owned by white people, white families, a few white families. All that we own as Black people is poverty. All that we own as Black people is absence. Nobody sees us, even when you walk into offices, nobody sees you. We're invisible as Black people. That's how much we don't mean anything in this country of ours. In radio, there's no Blackness. Even when you go to sports, even when we say we own the sports is ours, football is ours, but you still, when it talk the finances and all the other things, we're nowhere to find. So that is why, therefore, Azapo says, we need to restore the Black person. We need to recreate the Black person. We need to bring the Black person to where he belongs. And the Black person belongs to this country that we call Azapo. And then the Black person must own this country, must own the running of this country. As things stands now, even the people that are in governance, that the people that were voted for, you know, they've even outsourced the governing of this country. They're not running this country. It is run by other people on the base of other people. That's why when the ruling party had around 2009, they had 2/3 majority. There was nothing to show about it. And that's why we're saying, we think as a Azapo, a first thing that we're going to do is to abolish the provincial governments. We're going to remove them. because the provincial governments came about because the politicians of this country were trying to appease the white minority. They were trying to compromise and say, we as Black people, we can give you anything, including our dignity. But for so long as you are here. So we're saying we're going to remove that, and then we replace them with simple administrations. And then we take all the money and the resources that are stored or are funding the middle tier government. We take all that, and that money is an upward of 700 billion, conservatively speaking. We take all those resources, we take them down and invest them in local government, because local government in a developmental state is where development is supposed to be taking place and generated. So you take all those resources in terms of human resources, in terms of engineers, technicians, and technocrats, you move them there so that they are able to address, the problems of service delivery in this country. That's what we think we want to do. Remember again, these provincial governments, all that they do, now they reconfigure the Bantustans of yesterday. Okay. Because they have been cut and configured in terms of the homeland system of yesterday. So this is an apartheid structure that we feel we must.
Mhlawumbe before breaking mongameli omasipala bazaba khona kule system ngicinga ifanele uMzantsi Afrika.
Yes, because we think as Azapo what we need to do, and we're convinced, we've thought this out, that the only tiers that you need is central government. You need that one, and local governments. Okay, and then you remove the one in the middle, the provincial government, because this country is over governed. I mean, if I'm exaggerating, maybe this country is run by 10 presidents. The presidents and the provincial presidents by 10 governments. And then we think that is an over governance that you don't need in this country. You need all those resources channeled then to the development of the people at local government level.
Mongameli, xa sibuya ndiyafuna sibukole ngezinto ezidlozi. Mhlambe siqwalasela apha kuma-manifesto yenu uba ithini i-manifesto yenu umzekelo ngezinto ezinobundlobongela. Eli lizwe linobundlobongela too much. I-crime yalapha is so violent that uye uzibuze uba isengabanye naba abahlala kweli lizwe. Indlela esiziphethe ngayo kusakhalazwa la madoda okwangoku. Kuthiwa sithi madoda ahamba phambili ekubeni eli lizwe bekhethe. Xa sibuye ebreaking ke ndiyafuna sincokole ngaloo nto. Igama lam ndingumRevit, just stay tuned. Sibuyile ke phaya ebreaking. Mongameli, before nje sebreaking bendifune uqonda uba njengoba iSouth Africa i-chaotic kangaka, every Mondays, if not Sundays, kukholektwa izidumbu zabafazi kweli lizwe. Ndiyazi mhlawumbe kunabanye ke bathi phaya kooTwitter nakooFacebook ii-politicians zisebenzisa le nkqubo ukukhankasa, kodwa ii-politicians zizo eziquka imithetho yeli lizwe. So kunyanzelekile sibabuze imibuzo enje, siyazi intoba under Azapo government ingaba abantu bakhuselekile na? Uqokelela izidumbu apha, kubulawa abantwana, kucholachola abantwana kwi-dustbin. Ingaba i-Azapo izaliqwalasela njani lo mcimbi wongakwazi ukuziphatha kwabantu?
Crime is very rife in this country. They don't only hijack your car, they kill you as well. They don't kick the door and get inside and take the plasma TV, but they rape your wife and your children as well.
Yeah.
and after that they kill you as well.
Sikwi-war mos
Yes,
xa kunjalo.
truly as well.
Sikwi-war singayihlanganisa ne-war yase-Palestina, if not Syria.
Yes.
Sikwi-war is such that apha kufa abantu ababini eCape Town, kufa ababini eLimpopo, kufa ababini nento eBloemfontein. But xa kuqokelelwa ezi numbers, sikwi-war apha and a silent war.
Yes.
But under Azapo izopheliswa njani then, because ayikho exciting anymore kubantu abayibukeleyo. Umntana wabo akakwazi noya ezivenkileni ebusuku.
The first thing that Azapo will do is to outlaw, the ownership of guns by citizens.
Yeah.
Because we think there is no reason why citizens should own guns. That will be banned and then removed from citizens. The only people that will carry guns in this country, it will be those people in uniform.
Yeah.
The police and the soldiers.
Yeah.
They themselves will only do so when they are on duty. When they are not on duty, no guns whatsoever.
Madiba, what KZN is Qekema zofakelwana.
Yes.
After a pet izixhobo zisekhona pha abantu babizwa inkabi. Kudlulwa ii-families. I-Azani isenazo izixhobo.
And Ukhumbule, at that point in time when he said, the problem was the timing. Because he was saying it at the time when the enemy was still not just carrying guns, but killing us with those guns.
Yeah.
And then he was saying we must throw them away. And then at that point in time, we refused to throw them away. But
because
now,
the alien says
yes, we could not be the only ones who throw them away. And now the circumstances are different.
Okay.
We are now in a democracy. Now we have the institutions that are supposed to be defending us and protecting us.
Yeah.
And then they are the ones who are going to take this into account. But we're also saying that we change the laws such that we find you with a gun that you're not supposed to be carrying. And then we take you to jail, throw away the keys, 15 years up. And then it's even worse if you have committed a crime with that gun. That can even take you to life. It shall be a serious crime. Just possession. Just possession.
Ndiyakuva kakuhle ndifuna ukuqonda i-opinion yakho iyamkelekile kuleko. Ingaba ikhona into wrong namadoda? Ngoba zonke ezi zikhalo ukukhalwa ngomntu oyindoda. Nama ngithembakalanga kwabo.
Yes.
Because abekho safe. Kuba asiyazi uba kusuke kutheni xa kuthiwa indoda ibulele wonke umuntu endlini yawugqiba izidubula. Kusuke ingaba mhlambe i-opinion yakho njengomntu noko kudala eqhuzula imikhala. Ndikwazi for instance uyi-activist kwi-civil society. Ingaba xa ujonga ngoku ikhona mhlambe ingxaki esinayo njengabantu abangamadoda bengaziphelisa izibhamu isekhona imela abanye bazitshisa ngepetroli njalo njalo.
This is a deep-seated problem. Remember? I mean, men, we're talking about the Black community in particular.
Yeah.
These people, they believe they're the head of the family. And then they being the head of the family, you find that there is a problem that they've been stripped of that head, by a white racist society, by the coloniality within which they find themselves, the oppression, the helplessness within which they find themselves. And as a result of that, somebody is a head in his family, or you're a head, and then a white boy comes in and shouts at you, immediately you shrink, you don't know what to say. What type of a head are you? So in other words, you are stripped of that power, stripped of that dignity, stripped of that authority that you think you have. And then you discover that you can also not fend for your family. You can't feed your family.
Yeah.
If you're the head, you can't just be the head. You must also be able to feed your family.
Yeah.
And then your children must see you to be doing that. You find that you can't do it, because you're unemployed, not working, not doing anything that can bring livelihood into your family, and they start to see you being useless immediately, that then begins to undermine your marriage. And sometimes other things can happen that weaken your marriage, because there might be better men out there, better, and then in terms of resources and other things. And when that happens, these are the kind of things that now, and these things are societal. Societal.
So i-manifesto mongameli ithini ngokudalwa kwamathuba omsebenzi njalo njalo. Baninzi abantu abafika kweli lizwe nizii-pan-Africanists. Baninzi abantu abasuka apho, of course akunazi-foreigners in Africa njalo njalo. Ithini i-Azapo ngokudalwa kwamathuba omsebenzi nezakhono, ngoba enye into endiyibonayo eSouth Africa zizakhono. Abantu balapha banazo izakhono. We speak English but asinazo isingesi.
Now, the first thing that we have to remember when we were talking about abolishing the middle tier or the provincial governments, we then said, you then take all the resources and then you invest them at the local government. That in itself will help create work or jobs at the local level. But then we're also saying that the government must also help in terms of boosting the small and medium enterprises, because when you do that, you build those small companies, those small, companies, you are then able to ensure that you do not allow the monopoly, the white monopoly, to wipe out the smaller, business people. So in that way, by boosting the small businesses, you are ensuring that everyone in the local economy is able to make a contribution and employ 3, 5, or 8 or 10 people. And not only that, they themselves are able to fend for their own families and feed their own families, and you are able to create jobs. And then it has been proven through research that, in fact, once you boost the small businesses, you are able to grow your economy, because in that way, your economy becomes more active and more people becoming more economically active.
Mongameli, xa sibuya evenkileni siyofumana amanzi, ndiyafuna sithethe ngendima enizayidlala xa nisepalamente, ngoba sibonile ngexesha likamongameli wayekhona ngelaa xesha utata uMandela. Kwabakho ne-department ye-science and technology, and inintsi indima enayidlalayo ekuphuculeni i-tertiary institutions. Asinawublema yena ke ngokudityaniswa kwe-colleges, yenziwa ngukade asimakeleyo, but inintsi into enayidlalayo, indima enayidlalayo ngelaa xesha. Sifuna ukuqwalasela ke ngoku xa sibuya into yokuba kweminye imikhakha, umzekelo kwezemfundo, ezempilo, nizokwenza njani ne-Azapo, ngoba sinibone ninesithi enye epalamente nawenza umsebenzi, and ezi elections ngathi ke zi-interesting kakhulu. Igama lam ndinguMolo Dyasi, nisahleli ke nomongameli we-Azapo. Stay tuned. Ndozakuthi ke xa besenditshilo ndathi sizoba nemibuzo nje ethile endicinga into yoba i-Azapo isenendima emayidlale kweli lizwe. Mongameli, abantu bazanivotela ngokuqinisekileyo, yes, neminye imibutho izokuvotela, niwinile ningawinanga. Zintoni ezinye, umzekelo, besithenjiswe nge-free education now, kangenzeki loo nto. Instead kunenye iskill apho abantwana funeka bebhatele xa begqibile esikolweni. Yes, i-Azapo ithini ngezemfundo ngombono wethu, because ezi zinto zifunwa kanye ngaba bantu kuthiwa abanazakhono.
Remember, in 1976, we're in the forefront as the Black Consciousness Movement to ensure that we address or fight for free education.
Yes.
And Azapo is saying, education must be free, right from kindergarten up to and including, the first degree at tertiary level.
Okay.
Free, and it must be funded for. That's what we say.
Yeah.
The reason why we say that is that as Azapo, we take education is a priority, because once your nation is educated, you are able to address even the issue of unemployment, because then your citizens are employable. Your citizens
ndiyakholelwa mongameli yamtelayo because ndikhule mfto abantu be-Azapo ngabantu abafundileyo.
indeed here they was sitting with them now, they're engineers and all sorts of things. So then education becomes very important, and with the externalities that go with education. That's why Azapo believes we must invest in education. Our children are not supposed to be fighting and be shot at by a democratic government in education. But again, it doesn't have to be educated when you are not healthy. So primary healthcare is very important, and Azapo, again, it believes that we must provide this healthcare. That's why we believe it must be made accessible. It must be made to be free at a primary health care level, where national insurance is provided for by the people, and by the state itself, so that you don't die at home because you don't have money. No, that thing should not happen. The ambulance should not come to you and find out you do not have a medical aid, and then it leaves you.
So support the NHI oluhlobise ngalo ubume baye.
No, we are proposing it because what we are seeing it happening now is not what we will implement when we are there. We will also ensure that clinics are within the radius of 10 and less than 10 kilometers from where the people live. It cannot be that you are there and then you are sick and then you must now travel 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers to the nearest hospital. Health must be where you are. You and health must be one. So that's what we are saying is very important. And again, this is as Azapo was saying again, there is something that we must address as a nation. This thing of breeding a dependent nation, dependent on 350 rands, 300 and this, and then the grants.
Nina nezo zikuphi 3.5. Abantu bafuna i-3.5, abanye sebethenjiswe nge-3.5 manje ukuba njengoba bengenazakhona abanye bazawusiwa ezikolweni kube khona i-3.5. Anizuyenza kani not on it.
Well, the only people who can promise people with a 350 rand, it's people who don't take people seriously. It's people who do not respect the dignity and humanity of the people. As Azapo we do. And that is why, as Azapo, you put aside the 350, we give you opportunity to go and work and be gainfully employed. You earn a decent salary that you can now restore the dignity at the beginning that made you not be sure that you are the head of the family or you are the backbone of the family. Now your dignity is restored. We will not think about you when it's elections to give you food parcels, and those food parcels we throw at you and t-shirts. No, you need a job, and more than a job, you need an education. More than education, you need to be able to establish your own company. Not just seek for work, but to employ others.
Mongameli, uxolo uba ndibuyisele emva siyaxolisana nobana i-manifesto siyiqhaqhe uyilontsha ngomso bekuyembelekile.
Yes.
Kunabantu abakhala apha ku-social media njengoba simamele nje abantu bekhomenta kwezi elections. Abanye bathi ii-clinics alapha zibalwa ngo-1. Oonesi xa bebuya etini babuya besebezovala ikliniki. Ayisa-operate 24 hours ngenxa yobundlobongela obukhoyo ekuhlaleni. Kanti ii-branches zenu ziphi ukunqanda le mikhuba? Because before 1994, ama-branches ooPLAC oo-Azapo naye i-ANC ndiphetheyo were there kwi-communities uprotector ii-facilities ze-state. What happened?
The health issue is a 24-hour service. You can never, there can never be a break. There can never be 8 to 5. It doesn't happen like that. In fact, we know that the heart attacks take place around about 3 or 4 a.m., and then if you close them, what happens, So you can never close them. And then they must be open and open all the time.
Yeah.
And the issues of security must be addressed by the state. There is sufficient money in this country, but that money is being stolen by politicians. And that's why they were queuing in the Zondo Commission. Even when you need to make a follow-up to arrest them, you can't. Because they say, no, you can't. We'll call a commission of inquiry. And when you call the commission of inquiry, the money of the tenders for those, they still go to there.
Mongameli kuyabonakala uba kufuneka siphinde sibuye size kuwe okanye silandele ezinye ze-event zethu sesishukile imizuzu emibili. Sicela nje ukuthi uba i-Azapo izabe iphi, izabe isenza ntoni. Usowuthetha namadoda aphaya, kunamadoda athi ungasoze avote, kunolutsha oluthi soze luvote lona ngenxa into yobana eli lizwe lihoye kakhulu oomama nabantwana. Asiyazi bithetha ukuthini ke loo nto constitutional, ngoba amalungelo ngabantu bonke.
Unfortunately, not to vote is to vote. And you are voting for the perpetuation of your own slavery and your own difficulties and your own miseries. So if you do not vote, you are elongating your miseries. So go out and vote. And then remember, this vote, and there are people who die for it. Steve Biko, honey, you name that. So please go and use it. Do not say you don't like the person who's there. Still use it to remove the person and get the one who will do it for you. Then, as Azapo was saying, tomorrow we are going to Simonye in the Western area. That's where we'll be launching our manifesto. And it is a manifesto that is so important because it's about time Steve Biko, is reintroduced in the governance of this country. Black consciousness is reintroduced because the reason why this country is struggling in the manner that is struggling now is the deficiency or the absence of Black consciousness in governance, absence of Black consciousness in parliament.
Ayike into zakuthi siyayazi uba ixesha lasoloko lingayi kodwa sizawuyenza indlela into yokuba i-Azapo neminye imibutho sithi chu after elections ke sijonge uba ezi zinto bethu bazawuzenza bayazenza kusini na, ngoba xa uyilungu lepalamente uyinxalenye karhulumente. Ngaloo ke ndingumbolo letyasi mangithi nje lapha emakhaya wenzeleli